Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I'm doing a piece based on you're never too old to be young and you're never too young to be old. It's a juxtaposition piece and it's been like trend that I've been working on over the last few months. I really love the idea of having these like contrast ideas in the same painting, like someone being old, being new versus new, and you'll see that as a trend for some of my upcoming pieces on this YouTube channel, and I hope you fully do enjoy the process of it. Feel like art is not necessarily just about something looking beautiful, but also like the process behind it and the idea and the story that it tells. And that's why I've decided to add more commentary to my YouTube video to hopefully give a voice to my artwork. Here I started out with a yellow wash of gouache, fully diluted with plenty of water to kind of create the background for that. And then now I'm adding in some apricot colors to kind of stake out where the figurines are going to stand, how they're going to be positioned. What you're going to notice with my art style is like I don't usually draft out my artwork with like pencil crayons or pencils in general to show where everything is positioned. I kind of just paint as I go along, and hopefully the paint will tell me how things will go. But yeah, it's not I know some of you who've been watching the video comment on, oh, how does it just transpire from like this blank piece of paper onto like the full-fledged final piece. I do have like references that I use, like photographs. I use Pinterest a lot for a lot of modeling of people, but like in terms of when I actually draw, I would say maybe it's like a habit of being lazy. I don't like to use pencils or watercolor pencil to kind of fully stake out where everything is going to be located, which is why I usually use really watered down gouache in the beginning to mark down where the highlights, where the shadows, where the people's feet are, and you'll see that slowly surface as you follow along on this process for painting this piece. Now I found that the yellow on the background was just too bright for me, and I feel like it takes away from the main characters, so I'm going to slowly add on shades of color in the background so that it darkens a little bit. Maybe it'll be like a little bit lighter shade around the figures so that you can see the stark contrast between that and the main characters. I just don't want the background to take away too much from the overall story and idea behind the piece. So here I've decided that there's going to be an older lady here having her hair brushed by her maybe younger granddaughter. It could be a neighbor, just a younger girl. I love painting like geriatrics and older people because I feel like there is such beauty to their to the way they age. I don't think I'm the best at it, which is why I find that I do need to practice and challenge myself more often. Here you can see I'm using definitely less water and just more concentrated gouache to create highlights and outlines for the piece. This part is actually very serene for me. I enjoy the process of kind of doing the outlines. I often kind of hop to the step right away because I just love creating the outlines because it's so much easier for you to be able to tell apart where everything is. But I think it's very important to add all the different shades in the background before adding the final highlights and outlines. And it's something that I've been having to work hard to hold myself back and not jump right into drawing the outline and making sure I add in colors on layer by layer and creating a gradient. Here the background is dried up a little bit so I can add on more colors. For gouache, if you watch some of my previous videos, you know that like in order to add like darker colors, you really have to wait for the previous layer to dry before adding on another layer and build that contrast. It's not something that you can just like slap on, or you could, but you'll end up using and wasting a lot of paint. So if you're ever interested in gouache, my recommendation is to have patience and wait for things to kind of dry and wait and then add on the next layer. And like always, if you like the content on this channel, I would appreciate it very much if you would consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for considering. So here you can see it's very clear that the older lady is standing out. She's looking on the side of her shoulder, looking at this girl who's brushing her hair, almost brushing her hair like she is a doll to her. And I'm sure the older lady's looking at this younger girl and thinking, you are a total doll to me. And I love the admiration and adoration that comes from this like connection between the old and the young, because I feel like there is so much similarities, and also like so many similarities and also so many differences between these polar opposites, and so many things to learn from, both from as we grow older and looking at our younger selves, and seeing how they have no fear of judgment and just like able to freely express themselves with no contemplation. Is just so admirable. And I feel like the same way for the younger version of me, probably looking at myself, seeing the confidence, the experience I've gained, and like admiration for that process. And I just love the idea of this piece and how it kind of plays with these polar opposites and how there are things to learn on both sides. Slowing down, just want to show you how I'm adding highlights and patterns to the piece. You can see the older lady sitting on a stool while the girl is standing up and brushing her hair. And that's about it. I have finished this piece, and I hope you enjoyed this whole process. I feel like something gentle, something genuine about this piece, and I really enjoying this idea of juxtaposition. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this art time lapse, and I'll see you next time in another art time lapse video. Take care and stay creative.